Today, Twitter disbands its Trust and Safety Council. Tara Reade details being sexually assaulted by Joe Biden, and Cambridge Dictionary adds inclusive definitions of man and woman. Yay! I know you guys have all been waiting for that. I can't wait to share it with you. We've got all of that and more coming up, and it all starts right now. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez, and I am joined today by America's favorite cowboy, Chad Prather, also host of the Chad Prather Show. Happy you're here.
Happy to be here.
Also joined by the one and only legendary Pat Gray, host of Pat Gray Unleashed. You can find both of these gentlemen not only on BlazeTV, but make sure that you go subscribe to their audio podcasts as well. What are you waiting for? Go do it. Give them a 5-star rating while you're at it. Give them a review while you're at it. Just saying. It would be a nice Christmas present to them.
I like it.
I want to get into, I don't know. I want to get into what's going on at Twitter. I feel like, gosh, it's just a saga every day. We have a new chapter of what has changed at Twitter. And you may be asking yourself, well, why is this a top story? It's a social media company. Well, because we're talking about things like, freedom of speech, speech suppression. Sometimes, depending on what news surfaces we're talking about, the government literally colluding with one of the biggest platforms of speech to suppress information that could have possibly influenced elections. I mean, I say possibly, I mean actually influenced elections. So this is a big deal, what is going on at Twitter. Yesterday, of course, Yoel Roth, we talked about, the former head of trust and safety at Twitter, played a key role in suspending Donald Trump from the platform. According to an internal email, that Trust and Safety Council was dissolved today. The council was comprised of like 100 independent civil rights leaders and advocates from around the world that advised the company on tackling hate speech and other harmful content. The letter reads, as Twitter moves into a new phase, we are reevaluating how best to bring external insights into our product and policy development work. As part of this process, we have decided that the Trust and Safety Council is not the best structure to do this. Our work to make Twitter a safe, informative place will be moving faster and more aggressively than ever before, and we will continue to welcome your ideas going forward about how to achieve this goal. We will also continue to explore opportunities to provide focused and timely input into our work, whether through bilateral or small group meetings. I mean, I would say if you're talking about a civil rights leader, at least in the context of America, you can just basically throw their opinion in the garbage, because none of those people, I mean, if they're talking about hate speech and they're trying to alert any sort of social media platform on hate speech, they should not have a spot at the table to talk at all about what speech to suppress.
I just love the name Trust and Safety, because there was no trust and there was no safety. There was none of that. So it should be disbanded and go away and all of that stuff. Look, I get, CNN came out and said that, what's his name again? The Roth guy? Yoel. They said that, he's being threatened and he's getting dangerous messages or stuff because of this. Now, again, it's an unnamed source. I get hate messages every single day. I mean, threats, people talking about my mother. Some of them I agree with. But listen, I get those messages every day. And it's like, I'm not worried about this guy's safety. And the difference between that guy, he could show everybody the so-called hate he's getting. Right. You do it. I do it. Every now and then we'll take a screenshot and say, these are such pleasant people. Yeah. Right? I
don't ever see the other side doing it.
So that whole thing is a joke. Right? I don't care what kind of small groups you get into to talk about how to go forward and all of that. There's never any accountability, and ultimately that is the problem with all of this. And we're showing there's never been any accountability. That's what the exposure of these emails and all of this information that's been kept in the mysterious shadows all along is all about.
It is fascinating when they talk about, you bring up a good point, Chad, when they talk about safety, because I do seem to, I see kind of a recurrence from the left that anytime you put their own ideas, their own writings, their own videos, you platform their own content where they are speaking for themselves or they are representing themselves, somehow they twist that to say, it's dangerous what you're doing. Take, for instance, libs of TikTok, right? I've been accused of it as well for, doing what I'm doing, exposing all of these family-friendly drag shows, which we all know there is no such thing. And they turn it around and they say, this is dangerous. This is jeopardizing the safety of these people. And it's like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying anyone should come after them or whatever. If they have a problem with their own content being put up and on display, perhaps they should rethink their life choices.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's such a great thing that Elon Musk has taken control of this thing now and is disbanding these dumbass committees that he's doing. And other than the $8 a month for the blue check mark, I pretty much love everything he's done up to this point. He's making Twitter almost tolerable, but not quite, but almost tolerable. And at least he's providing a forum where Americans can actually speak their minds. And apparently people on the right now have a forum again. It's been great so far.
Yeah, you're talking about how great Elon Musk has been on this. If you ask Joe Scarborough over on MSNBC, he would actually say that Elon Musk is very similar to Vladimir Putin. Because they're both doing illogical things. This is quite the mental gymnastics you have to take here. Watch.
I never thought at the end of the day that Putin would be illogical enough to go in to Ukraine. He did, right? And he keeps taking the country down a rat hole. And so I'm like, it is disconcerting because he's acting every day against Russia's own self-interest.
Losing 100,000 soldiers.
In a much smaller area, you have a billionaire, richest guy in the world. He can afford to lose $44 billion. But again, what's the logic in playing to a small slice of conspiracy theorists? Who's he playing to?
But keep in mind, he's super conservative. Oh, Joe is all Republican. I mean, he was a Republican congressman. He's super, super conservative. Has he ever said a single conservative thing on that show?
No.
It's
I don't think
unbelievable.
so. I don't think
unbelievable.
so. Not to mention, I mean, that's just quite the stretch, though. It's like
huge.
It's like you are like Hitler because you're both white males. Okay, but none of them have anything to do with the other. I'm trying to make sense of MSNBC, and that's the problem.
Honestly, there's a bad little comparison he's trying to make there. Vladimir Putin, what's the logic in going into Ukraine? There's a lot of logic in going into Ukraine. If you ask Vladimir Putin, 100% there's a lot of logic there. He's fulfilling the destiny of Catherine the Great and Peter the Great. He sees himself as doing what they did, the exact same thing, taking what he believes is his back. Elon Musk, on the other hand, is just saying, look, there's some people out there that have some ideas you don't like, and they've been suppressed. We're going to Elon Musk at no time has come out and said, listen, I agree with everything Donald Trump said. I agree with everything that every conservative, even a conspiracy theorist, ever said. Elon Musk isn't out there saying, these guys, they were right on the money. No, he's just saying they have a right to be heard. They have a right to say what they want to say. Even if it's a wild-out opinion or a theory, and, we've talked about it before, conspiracy theories happen when there are gaps in the story. And so what you do is you fill in the gap and you say, well, maybe this is what happened because they're not telling us everything. So is that dangerous? I don't think it's dangerous. It might be cockamamie. It might be a little weird. But, if you keep purposefully giving us the gaps, we're going to keep filling them in. What I think Elon Musk is trying to do is say, hey, let's fill in the gaps here, right? Because these purposefully have been hidden from you, and it's okay for you to see them now.
Yeah.
This is like telling your kid, I can't use that as an analogy. I was going to use a Christmas analogy with your children. But it's like there's certain things that you say to your kids, just like, well, you don't need to know all of that, right? And this is what these people, these powers that be, whether it's Silicon Valley, these bigwigs in social media and those platforms, or even mainstream media, they're like, we have the keys, and we don't want to tell the kids what goes on behind the closed doors.
Yeah.
And Elon's just knocking the locks off.
Ain't that the truth? So we covered this on the program the other day. Elon had tweeted out over the weekend, my pronouns are prosecute/Fauci. And by the way, if you'd like to own that T-shirt, Prosecute Fauci, you can find it over at realwomensclub.com.
Yeah, Prosecute Fauci.
But so Karine Jean-Pierre, the lovely, the wonderful, the esteemed, probably the best White House press secretary we've ever had, Karine Jean-Pierre, was referencing those Prosecute Fauci tweets. And she said that personal attacks on Dr. Fauci are disgusting, divorced from reality, and incredibly dangerous. Watch.
These attacks, these personal attacks that we have been seeing are dangerous on Dr. Fauci and other public health professionals as well. They are disgusting and they are divorced from reality. And we will continue to call that out and be very clear about that. Again, these are incredibly dangerous, these personal attacks that we are seeing.
This just goes back to what I was talking about. Incredibly dangerous, these personal attacks. What is dangerous about tweeting Prosecute Fauci?
Nothing.
If you believe that he has lied and his lies contributed to millions of deaths, not just here, but across the globe, why would you not say Prosecute Fauci? How is that dangerous?
It's not dangerous. They want something dangerous to happen. They want that in the worst way. And then they can say,
right.
See, we told you that what Elon Musk was doing was incredibly dangerous. We tried to tell you. But it's not dangerous. It's prosecute and Fauci. That's going to set somebody off to do what?
Oh, no, take the proper steps in the legal system?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
We didn't say hang him. We said prosecute him. Like, jurisprudence here. Let's take the necessary steps. But Sheila Jackson Lee, our great congresswoman from Houston, from Texas, said that from her verified sources now, various sources, that words can break your bones. She said these words.
Yeah, she
words
did.
can break your bones. So that's the reality. Talk about divorce from reality. Yeah. To use KJP's rhetoric there.
That must be what KJP was referring to.
And I guess when they were talking about prosecuting Donald Trump, removing him from office and prosecuting him, was that incredibly dangerous? I don't remember them being worried about that.
Yeah. I recall them holding protests where they had staged little fake guillotines where they pretended to chop off Donald Trump's head. And
they took guillotines how many times to Jeffrey Bezos' house at Amazon, just because he's a billionaire. They didn't really have anything on him, to my knowledge. They just hated him because he's rich.
You remember all the time throughout history where they've burned political leaders in effigy? I mean, set them on fire. Just build a little doll that looks like George W. Bush and set him on fire in the street. Listen, that's the nature of the beast, for crying out loud. They just don't want that. Whatever happened is tarring and feathering. Is tarring and feathering, that's a pretty dangerous practice, I would say, but it was practiced, at times in our history. Yeah. That kind of talk, that kind of rhetoric, I know we're evolving every day in every way. We're becoming better and better. And then all of a sudden you see man's inhumanity to man and realize that we're not that great. And we're still going to at least talk about these things. But, they're not talking about, remember when the guy shot Steve Scalise and other, members of Congress in baseball practice, or, outside Brett Kavanaugh's house, or, when 150 people were arrested outside the Department of Interior on October, whatever that was, 14, a couple of years ago, in protest of Kavanaugh's thing. All these different things that are going on out there. When they use that rhetoric, it's okay.
Right.
But when we do, it's going to be inciting violence. Right. I mean, don't forget, Donald Trump, whenever he fought a CNN meme outside of a wrestling ring, the World Wrestling Federation, and he bashed the CNN meme or the symbol logo down on the ground, he was basically causing violence against journalists.
So, we are led by a bunch of babies, unwilling to take personal responsibility. All right, we got to take a quick break. We've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Tommy John. So, look, don't make your loved ones face the dead of winter in old T-shirts and ancient ratty underwear. You got to help them fight cold with cozy. Give them the gift of Tommy John. Trust me when I tell you, I know personally, Tommy John is the most comfortable thing you will ever put on your body. They've got something for everyone there. They've got men's stuff, they've got men's underwear, they've got men's loungewear, they've got men's pajamas, they've got women's bralettes, they've got women's underwear, they've got women's pajamas, they've got women's loungewear, and all of it is so freaking soft. You are going to be so comfortable. And, it really does. It just puts you in just the right mood to spend time with your in-laws over the holidays. You can shop Tommy John's Wrap It Up sale right now. Give the gift of comfort to everyone on your list, including yourself, with brand new Tommy John underwear, loungewear, and pajamas. By the way, they have a best pair you'll ever wear or it's free guarantee, so you got nothing to lose. You can go to TommyJohn.com/Y. You can get up to 30% off of everything right now. Order now so your gifts arrive before the holidays over at TommyJohn.com/Y. See site for details. Last night, Tucker Carlson played a clip of Tara Reade on an upcoming episode of his podcast. And Reade spoke about Joe Biden sexually assaulting her when she worked for him in the 90s. Here's some of that.
He had me up against a wall and he penetrated me with his fingers against my will. And it wasn't just the assault though. It was everything to do with, here I am, this young staffer, and he did this, and then I made him angry. When it happened, he at first was like, come on, man, I heard you liked me. And I froze, and then he said he got angry, and that's when he smiled, that smile. And that's what was really jarring. And then he pointed his finger in my face, and he said, "You're nothing."
The idea that someone can come forward, again, we live in the age where all you have to do is make an accusation with absolutely no evidence to back it up. I believe that she has called for certain evidence to be uncovered, and so far they have blocked that from happening. But, if you're on the left, you can make an accusation with absolutely no evidence to back it up. Take Brett Kavanaugh, for instance, right? We're supposed to believe that he was involved in some big gang rape of all of these, a gang rape train, a gang rape club when he was in high school. Mm-hmm. And you want to ruin the man's life over it, and somehow we make a guy president who has someone willing to go on national television and say what he did to her, which is, I'm sure not a very comfortable thing to do.
Yeah, well, and you listen to the testimony of Christine Blasey Ford. I don't know if that woman, I don't know what she was on, nerve relaxers, whatever. But
it seemed like they had her on several different things.
Yeah, so if you watch that and you listen to kind of the hazy recollection of this retelling of the story, Tara Reade's very clear in what happened. She's been very consistent in that story. So the problem there, again, the story was swept under the rug. This is whether it's a Juanita Broderick with Bill Clinton or whoever it may be. You have these women who are very specific in their stories. Mm-hmm. If this had been a Trump family member or Donald Trump himself, this would have been, they would still be talking about it, just like his, deal with his hot mic deal. Grab him by the whatever.
Joe Biden literally did.
Yeah.
He literally just did. That is what he did. He wasn't talking about it. The accusation is that he actually did, and we're just supposed to just sweep it under the rug and pretend like we never heard it.
Yeah. She apparently told her mom, too, back then, and her best friend. So it's not like we waited 30 years to hear any part of the story.
Right.
She told people right away, and it's been consistent ever since. If this was, again, anybody else, they would be out of politics. Mm-hmm. But because it's Joe Biden, he gets all the coverage. He gets all the cover from the media that he needs to avoid paying any price for this. Because what happened to the Hillary Clintons of the world, that these women should be believed?
Right.
It's not that we should take them seriously. They should be believed unless they're accusing a Democrat.
Right.
Then all bets are off.
Yeah. Listen, the whole Me Too movement thing went out the window when they gave Bruce Jenner Woman of the Year. So I don't know. The pink hats have suddenly disappeared in all of this stuff. Again, these are far more clear. You had the Matt Lauers of the world. Everybody was accused. Right. Everybody's had to. defend themselves in some form or fashion, because again, the vocabulary was out there, and like you said, the believe all women thing, and now that's a non-starter anymore if you're dealing with a Democrat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is really sad to see happen. I want to switch gears here to the Respect for Marriage Act. This was signed today at the White House. Are you guys excited?
Thrilled.
Yay! We're so excited that the Respect for Marriage Act was codified and signed, and Joe Biden invited Marty Gould Cummings. This is a non-binary drag queen to attend this ceremony today. He thanked the drag queen. He thanked President Biden for the invite on Twitter, writing, "To be a non-binary drag activist invited to the White House is something I never imagined would happen. Thank you, President and Dr. Biden, for inviting me to this historic bill signing. Grateful doesn't begin to express the emotions I feel." And, of course, we've got photos of this drag queen. In the bottom one, you can see his legs are spread wide open right in front of a child. So, I do think that they had it right when they call him, he called himself a drag activist. The term activist should clue you in that they do actually, it's not just a drag queen wanting to just do his own thing. This is an activist who is very, very, very determined to change the culture and knows that the only way to do that is to take a hold of your children, which he's taking to a completely different level in that picture.
I don't know when we started giving platform and voice to the fringiest and cringiest among our society, but culture is in such a devolution at this point. Look, we didn't care about your drag shows. You could go out and had your party and had your circus, done whatever you wanted to do in the confines of your adult environment. But now you wanted to drag children into your BS, and you are upset that we are consistently calling you out on this. We don't understand. We're just trying to say, what are your motives? Why are you doing this? Why is it? And then don't use inclusion and acceptance and all of this stuff, because you're not interested in that at all. You're trying to normalize something. You're trying to launder it. You're trying to, clean it up to the point where it becomes normalized in society. You even laugh at it. And so you throw it out there like it's some form of normal behavior, and it's not. Yeah. It's not. So maybe Dr. Biden can analyze your head while you're at the White House and see what's going on in there. Oh, that's right. She's not a real doctor.
Do you remember when Michelle Obama said we need to change our history, we need to change our traditions, we need to change our culture, we need to change our conversation? Well, they've done all that now. Yep. They've done all of that, and I don't think at the time anybody would have conceived of them coming after our kids, but that's exactly what they did. They came right to our kids, and it has shocked us out of our minds, and they act as if it's the most natural thing in the world.
That really is. It's something, I go to these events to expose them all the time. And it is something that really is so jarring to me that I can't get over, is that you can show someone the same video that I watched happen in real time of a child watching a grown man gyrate in front of them with sexually explicit music playing, and they look at that same footage and they'll tell you, that's not sexual.
Not only that, they haven't come up and touched him. We just had video on my show earlier this week where they have 5-year-olds coming up and touching their bodies, their fake breasts, their stomachs. That's absolutely sexualizing this event. You're not just reading stories to them at that point. You're having physical contact. It's sick. It's illegal. It's criminal what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, do that to my kid and find out what happens.
Oh, yeah.
You definitely don't want to do that. And to think that there are actual parents who are out there allowing it, encouraging it, welcoming it is just, it's like, guys, we're past the point of Sodom and Gomorrah. And let me just tell you, Texas legislature, if you don't make it clear that that is child abuse and ban it from happening, I'm coming for you. Chad?
Then they'll say, prosecute Sarah. We'll be up there talking about, you're threatening harm.
That's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
That is dangerous
for Sarah.
speech.
But I got a feeling you could hold your own.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it.
I brung my razor.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. We call them shanks where I'm from.
All right.
I'll bring my shank. Really quick before we have to go to break, I want to play a Biden gaffe earlier today. He said, he's like, hey, yeah, I'll take questions. And he's like, actually, I won't take any questions. Watch.
They always do very well. We just have to keep going. I know we can get this done. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. And I'll take questions. I'm going to be seeing you all a little later this afternoon. I'm not taking any questions right now. Thank you.
Oh, wait, what? You changed his mind that quickly?
Pretty fast.
I take questions now. I don't take any questions. Wait, what?
Hello, good night. That was a Fetterman.
That's what I was thinking. Someone needs to do a mashup of the two of them basically saying the same things, but not.
What is there to say there on that? I mean, this guy.
Pray.
He's gone.
Done.
So
I'm glad he's not in charge. You know?
Oh, wait, about that. All right, when we come back, let's talk about the Cambridge Dictionary adding inclusive definitions of man and woman. The Cambridge Dictionary recently updated its definitions of man and woman, of course, to be more inclusive, because now definitions need to be inclusive. The definition of man in the online version now includes a second meaning. It says, an adult who lives and identifies as male, though they may have been said to have a different sex at birth. I love that. Though they may have been said to have a different sex at birth. I guess that's to insinuate that it was just an accident. It was a mistake that they gave them a different sex at birth. The example sentences alongside the definition include, Mark is a trans man, a man who was said to be female when they were born, and their doctor encouraged them to live as a man for a while before undergoing surgical transition. The definition of woman, of course, includes a second definition that similarly reads, an adult who lives and identifies as female, though they may have been said to have a different sex at birth. The sentences, the example sentences, are just the same. She was the first trans woman elected to a national office. Mary is a woman who was assigned male at birth. They also, by the way, the dictionary offers an interesting explanation of the term gender. It says, a group of people in a society who share particular qualities or ways of behaving which that society associates with being male, female, or another identity. And the example is the gender that you identify with isn't always the same as your biological sex. Oh, by the way, they added the personal pronoun Z to the dictionary. So we can pack it all in and go home, folks. Let's just burn the whole
Look,
thing
I
to the
said
ground
30
at
years
this point.
ago. I said 30 years ago. The community, whatever you want to fill in the blank, whatever that community is. No community out there is ever after equality. They're not. They want control. The issue is always about control. If it's the LGBT whatever community, they're not about equality. They want control. The way they're going to get control is by controlling the language. So even using that little narrative of saying the first trans man ever elected to national office, just throwing that in as an example right there, it's just showing you where they're headed so that you'll get used to hearing this in the world of politics and culture, that this person is now running things. And the issue there, when it talks about until they can, get a gender reassignment or whatever surgically, again, you're taking people who have a mental health issue and now you're going to give them a physical health issue to go along with it. And the younger, the better, according to these people. So we're living, how long does this go on? Is this a generational thing? How long does this happen? Because this house of cards is going to fall and it's going to destroy a lot of people.
Yeah, really, how long does it happen? Because
again, there's people out there who are pushing this ideology who aren't dealing with a gender dysphoria. They're using these people as a pawn in the game,
right?
And they're going to destroy these people's lives in order to make their narrative work.
Yeah. Pat.
And it has to collapse, Chad, because it's not based in truth. It's not based in reality.
Right.
It's not based in science. They used to call us the science deniers. My gosh. They deny every kind of science, every kind of biology. They don't live in reality at all. When you have a nominated Supreme Court justice sit there and tell a U.S. senator, yeah, I can't define women. I'm not a biologist. We've come really far, really fast. We've gone down this hill so quickly in such a short amount of time. It was 2013, I believe, when the AMA considered it a dysphoria, when they considered it a mental illness. And now you dare not say that, or you can be canceled. But it is a mental illness. they've always dealt with it as such until the last 7 or 8 years. And just because we're calling it something else doesn't make it something else now.
Yeah.
It's still a problem.
I'm hopeful that the pendulum is going to swing back the other way.
I hope
Has
so.
to.
It has.
The spring will break. I mean, it's wound way too tight.
Well, right, and I mean, we've seen it in the UK previously. There was a lawsuit, it's like a class action lawsuit filed against the largest gender clinic in the UK with all of these patients saying, you guys rushed into this and you didn't explain things properly to us, and we're suing you. We're seeing it now here stateside with, people like Chloe Cole, who detransitioned, who was a minor, and they advised that she chop her breasts off as a minor, and they pushed all of these things on her that are going to be, irreversible. And they told her parents, she's going to kill herself if you don't affirm this and follow through with all of these irreversible things. And
she never said that.
She never said it. And they're pushing all of this. We've heard so many heartbreaking stories from these detransitioners. And, you got to believe the more of them that speak up and speak out and do things like what Chloe Cole did, which was file a lawsuit, the more that happens. I'm not saying that they're going to fix the mind of these doctors, people in the medical community who are just beyond sick. I'm not saying they're going to fix their minds. What I'm saying is if you hit them in the pocketbook, they'll stop. I still think they'll be horrible, perverted people. But if the hospital goes, okay, we either stop doing this or we're going to get sued again and go bankrupt, what are they going to pick?
Well, we have a Navy SEAL right now. Did you see that story this week?
Yeah, we played it yesterday.
SEAL who struggled with this and was in a bad way, he said, for a while. And so he went ahead and got the blockers, the hormone transition, and for a couple of years, he went down that road. And then he really regretted it. And then he stopped all of that and went back the other way. But what kind of damage has been done in the meantime?
Right.
Who knows? And at least he's an adult. They're doing this to kids who are hitting puberty. We don't have any idea how bad that's going to be down the road for them.
Yeah.
Well, the studies are already coming out saying that they will be infertile.
Yeah.
Right.
So, just that alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm hopeful that the more of these people come out, which they are, because they don't like what's being done to them, the pendulum will start to swing back the other way. I want to get to, on the topic of this, I want to get to the beautiful, very feminine Sam Brinton, who, of course, is the Biden administration official who had an arrest warrant issued for grand larceny with a value between $1,200 and $5,000 for allegedly stealing luggage from Harry Reade International Airport. Investigators said that a white male adult wearing a white T-shirt with a large rainbow-colored atomic nuclear symbol design was seen on security footage taking the woman's bag before leaving the airport. This was, of course, after he stole the other woman's luggage, allegedly, of course, even though we have it on security camera. And initially he denied that he did it and then called back and was like, hey, I'm not being completely honest. Well, I didn't think it would happen. I'm going to have to eat my words on this. Actually, I won't eat my words on this. He was fired. I'll say that. He was only fired after the second theft, he was fired. I said after the first theft, I don't think that he will have any sort of, they're going to put him on leave and then they're going to quietly bring him back and he will have no repercussions for this in the Biden administration. And because, once you bring in a man and let him, wear lipstick and dresses and heels and we all pretend like he's actually a woman when he's not. Once you put that person in your Department of Nuclear Energy, all bets are off the table, I feel. So I was actually about to eat my words. I'm not going to, because they did not fire him after the first one. It was only after the second one, and there was the warrant for grand larceny.
This is a perfect example of having beer budget and a champagne taste. He has a thing for women's clothes, and he can't afford them, so he's stealing people's bags. Right. He's taking it home and seeing what's in there. It's like an Easter egg.
It's like
he's finding a good bag. He's stealing it from the airport, and he's taking it home. And he's Matt Damon with lipstick, and he's a little klepto for fashion.
He is. Golly, I cannot unsee that at this point.
He looks like Matt Damon. This is what happens when Jason Bourne's transitioned. Yeah. We've uncovered a lot of things that he's done. He has a lot of kinks. He doesn't need this kink of I want to steal other women's luggage and clothing. Yeah,
and you're right. They waited for the second time.
Yeah.
How many more times has there been?
Right.
I bet these are not the only 2 times he's done it.
No.
Because you don't just start stealing $2,500 bags, spur of the moment. Oh, yeah, I think I'm going to start stealing stuff from this carousel. He's done it a bunch of times.
Oh, yeah.
I love that the first one, his excuse was like, oh, I thought it was my bag. And they're like, sir, we have you on video taking the luggage tag and like removing it.
And you didn't check a bag.
Right. How did you think this was going to play out? Boy, but the Biden administration is hiring the brightest over there. Nothing to worry about. Also, don't worry about who's in charge of the nuclear codes. We're not going to talk about that. We've got to take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried was arrested last night by authorities in the Bahamas after they received word from U.S. officials that charges had been filed against him and that the U.S. would soon seek extradition. He is facing charges of wire fraud conspiracy, securities fraud conspiracy, and money laundering. The charges are contained in a sealed indictment from the prosecutors for the Southern District of New York. And Reuters reported that the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, has also authorized charges against Bankman-Fried. Now, this is going to be a very interesting case as it plays out. I feel like it might be very similar to two totally, completely different subjects and charges, but maybe similar to the Ghislaine Maxwell, trial where we were like, oh, good, we're going to get to finally see all of this information that the public really needs to know is going to come to light on who these bad actors were, who these people were that were associated heavily with Jeffrey Epstein. It never came to that because the judge seemed to protect and block all of those measures from coming out. You got to wonder if that's going to be the same here with Sam Bankman-Fried, because certainly the accusations are that, as he's funneling the money to Ukraine, where they're going to take it and they're going to funnel it right back to the Democrat Party, the DNC. Pretty heavy accusations that you would think they would want to make sure to clear and make sure that it is transparent to the American public. Somehow I doubt that will happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm cynical.
Remember what I said earlier about filling in those gaps?
Yeah.
Well, here's the problem. There's going to be a gap in the there's going to be a gap in the camera at about 2 a.m. in the jail because it's going to go from about 2 to 2:35. So the camera's just going to go blank. Nothing's going to be recorded. And you know how Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself? Neither did this dude.
Bankman-Fried didn't kill himself.
What an amazing coincidence that would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. Maybe it's time to check those cameras right now. Just make sure they're in working order.
Or suddenly, the Ukrainian gang there in the prison. The Ukrainian mafia that's in the whatever. Because every nationality is represented in prison, so I hear. I mean, I did my nickel in Huntsville. I don't know. But, maybe he gets what would you call it, a shank? What is it you kids in the East Texas streets call it?
A shank. That's not East Texas.
And again, if this was a Republican donor, the second largest donor in the Republican Party, can you imagine what the media would be making out of this?
That perhaps
they don't even care about it.
Not gotten to the Bahamas, maybe?
Yeah, right. Or he would have been immediately arrested in the Bahamas, and he would have already been extradited. Oh, yeah. But they don't care. They don't give a rat's anus about this. Yeah. They couldn't care less.
Well, I mean, I would say they do care to the extent that they want to cover their own business and tracks, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of information locked away in that fuzzy head.
And once he gets to America, you do want to keep track of where the Clintons are at all times.
Yeah.
At all times.
That guy will commit suicide shooting himself twice in the head.
Yeah. Drag himself across the street to the park. Yeah, we've seen that before.
I want to switch gears here and talk about Kathy Hochul, New York Governor Kathy Hochul. Oh, she is the best. Well, she announced she's launching a special unit to prevent hate and bias as part of what her office is calling an early warning detection system in communities. This new task force comes in conjunction with over $100 million that the state has allocated to hate crime prevention. And effective immediately, the New York State Division of Human Rights will launch the Hate and Bias Prevention Unit, which will lead public outreach efforts and responses to communities where they determine hate has occurred. And the councils will provide services such as organizing, educational programming, conflict resolution training, and a method for filing complaints. They will also have a rapid response team to respond to hate incidents in the community. And it will, of course, as you guys would guess, will promote acceptance, inclusion, tolerance, and understanding of diversity and consulting with school districts, community organizations, local governments, and more. I would love to know what is a hate incident?
You remember the old movie Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone, and they put him in a cryogenic freeze, and then he comes out, and the world has changed, and the bad guy, Wesley Snipes, he every time he cusses, there's a computer in the sky somewhere that says, you have a new, and it prints off a little detention slip or whatever, and he just starts cussing the thing, so it just starts spitting them out. That's what I want to do. Like, I just hate everybody at this point. You want to pick me up. I'll give you the address. Come pick me up, put me in the cuffs, because I'll just go ahead and say it. I hate them all.
That was a hate incident.
It was a hate incident. So that's what a hate incident is. Like, if I say Kathy Hochul has teeth that look like Bugs Bunny, and she does, that's a hate incident.
That's a hate. I'm calling up the rapid response team right now.
I'm so sick and tired. I think we all are of the hate bull crap. I mean, who gets to define what is hate and what is not? And by the way, hate is protected speech. It's threatening speech that's not protected. You can't, like, I can't say I'm gonna kill Chad Prather,
right?
And get away with it because it's a terroristic threat. We can't do that kind of stuff. I can't say I hate Chad Prather's guts, and it's not nice, and nobody likes to hear it, and I'm not a very nice person for saying that, but I can say it in America. We've got to get back to that, because if you don't protect hate speech, what's the point of the First Amendment?
Yeah.
There is no point, because you don't have to protect nice speech.
Right.
Yeah.
Love speech doesn't have to be protected. Nobody objects to it.
Yeah.
I just had a little vision of Pat Gray getting out of the shower in the morning, combing his hair, going, I hate Chad Prather. Just looking in the mirror.
I know, I heard him say that. I'm like, who among us hasn't said the words, I hate Chad Prather?
There's a lot. Get
Like
that yokel dude, whatever his name was, they fired from Twitter.
Yeah. No, it's just like, I mean.
Trust and safety, Pat.
Well, it keeps saying, like, they're going to launch in these communities that need it with these hate incidents. It's like, what community doesn't have hate?
Yeah.
It's all over the community. You're not going to eliminate. I wish we could eliminate hate from this world, but we're not going to.
Especially in New York.
Right. They're all really mean.
Yeah.
So it just is fascinating.
Like,
that,
if you honk your horn, if you're a taxi driver and you honk your horn in Manhattan, is that a hate incident?
Right. I mean, well,
you cuss a guy, get out of the way!
And it's like, well,
hate incident.
Who all is a protected class here? Because I have an idea, a sneaking suspicion that if a white man gets attacked by a bunch of black people, they're not gonna call that a hate incident.
No, that's not hate.
But you do it in reverse, and it's gonna make the news, and the guy's gonna definitely see their time, behind bars.
It's not a hate incident. That's wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, right, exactly. All right, we got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Shouldn't have been here, homie.
Yeah. God. The Objective, New York Times, named the most stylish people of 2022.
Come on.
And, of course, included people like Ayanna Pressley and John Fetterman.
Divorce from reality. What?
John Fetterman right there. Yes, in his beautiful, gorgeous. Oh, look at that. Just the hood.
That's a styling hoodie.
It's the hoodie with the shorts combination and the black high tops. That's
one of the 93 most stylish people in America right there. Right there.
So
That's
sad.
great.
But it's not at all political, though.
No.
It's not at all political. I mean, other figures who made it to the list include
Again, they're
Ketanji.
normalizing.
Yes. Mediocrity.
Right.
Weirdness.
Goiters growing out the back of your neck.
That's his twin brother. This hasn't been birthed.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, they said she has statement necklaces, and New York Mayor Eric Adams selected for his impeccably tailored suits and referred to as the party mayor. So, wow.
Jeez.
When we are naming John Fetterman to most stylish people of 2022, I think we've jumped the shark here this year, and I wish that was just that was it, and I just want to sleep until the new year. Not that that's
it's not going to be any better.
Not that that's going to be any better. I'm talking as if it's not going to be worse. But I mean, while it is worse, at least you can laugh with us about it here on the News and Why It Matters. We appreciate you watching. Chad Prather, Pat Gray, thanks for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow.